So here we have our material. I'll lay it over our hole. And I'm going to give it a little extra. Because when we sew, we're going to double over this netting and adhere it to the sides. So I'm going to give a little extra width. So here we go. Here's our flight suit. Cut out the hole on the back. There's the mosquito netting that's going to fit over it. So I'm going to tailor the mosquito netting a bit so that we have about, looks like 1.5 inch overlay. When we attach this mosquito netting, we're going to give it a little lip. It's got a little more structure to it. And we're going to sew it to the back of the flight suit. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can try shoe glue. The shoe glue that you can get at Kmart. Now when you use this stuff, you want to be in a well-ventilated area because this stuff reeks. So I'm going to do is double over my netting, place it over my hole, and take my shoe glue, make a nice healthy seam with it. Once that glue is in place, put your netting down. Now when you're working with shoe glue, you're definitely going to want to use gloves. So you're going to want to mesh the glue into the netting so that the glue actually starts coming through your netting holes. And once this is in place, you're going to do the entire seam of your suit. And once you've done the whole thing, you're going to want to put down a layer over the shoe glue and then put a heavy object down so that when it dries in place and it dries real tight against the suit. And this is kind of an expedient way to attach netting if you don't have a sewing machine. Instead of just making these big canvas patches, we're going to leave a flap on the top on these patches. That allows you to put some padding in between the flight suit and the patch. So, you know, a piece of carpet, some real hardcore foam, or even maybe a couple more layers of canvas. So that when you're crawling on the rocks, you've got more than just 2 layers. I've got this nice thick fabric that I'm going to use for my patch. And you can go a thicker canvas. They have rubberized canvas, which is good. This is a nylon weave with a camouflage pattern. And then on the back, there's a nice PVC waterproof base. It's a little thin, but that's okay for today. So I'm going to cut my patch out. Now the patch, of course, is going to ride right next to the zipper. And it's going to go all the way. The patch should ride all the way up to here. So I'm going to cut out this patch. You don't want any corners with these patches because if you got a sharp corner, it has a tendency to catch and pull off the suit. So when you cut your patches, you're going to round the corners off. Nice big round corners. Once again, we're either going to sew it or we're going to use the shoe glue. And the shoe glue is a pretty good replacement for the sewing machine. What we're going to do is take our patch, flip it. We're going to put a real healthy amount right along the seam. Really stuff that stuff on. Once again, you got to be in a well-ventilated area for this stuff. As you can see, I did not glue the top part. And now with this, I'm going to flip it. Place it right there. Once again, I did not put any glue here on the top. And with this patch, you're going to let this sucker dry, and you're going to want to put a nice heavy object along the entire seam. This object's only going to work for one side. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go back over your whole patch, and you're just going to glob it on the seam so you don't have any fabric riding. Because you have any type of lip, you're going to have rocks, you're going to have twigs catching and tearing it off of your flight suit. So I'm going to make a real heavy duty, nasty seam. And then I should be wearing gloves. So I'm going to use this to kind of work it in to the fabric. This is going to go along the entire length except for the top. Now the top part, we are going to add a flap, another piece to the top here. And this piece, I'm going to round the bottom corner a little bit, but on top I'm going to really round that sucker. I don't want any little corner to catch on natural vegetation. Now this top part is going to be glued along these two sides and along the top. Once again, real healthy amount of glue. And when you flip this on, you're going to want the bottom part to override this top part by about 1 inch. Once again, I'm going to press. Make sure my flight suit's nice and flat. Press the sucker down. And really work it in. You really want to work this glue and this material together. And then for this top area, you're going to want to glue the seam again. And this is the area that should receive a lot of glue because you don't want these patches to come off of your suit when you're in the bush. Once again, I'm only gluing the sides and the top. I'm leaving the bottom open. Now this top part forms kind of a pocket. When the sucker is in place, you're going to be able to stuff down this pocket. What we got here are these canvas, real thick canvas material that we got at the surplus store. And we've got our patch that has now dried. It's adhered to our flight suit for our ghillie suit. And you can see it's pretty well dried, and it's got this this kind of expedient pocket that we can now take our burlap, stuff it in there. So this gives you a little extra padding when you're crawling, and I could put in thicker stuff. This canvas was a little thin. It doesn't go all the way to the edges on the inside, but it's a real thick material. So what you can do is take canvas material like this, and then take some foam or some carpet and just shoe glue the two suckers together. So you have a real thick element that real sharp objects won't pierce through, and then you would have a nice foam layer that will be for more of a comfort thing. So once again, you just take your pocket, stuff your padding into it, make sure it's flat, and then close it. And this flap, when you're crawling forward, isn't going to catch. It's only when you're going to be going backwards that this flap